So I went back to D+. No, not for Marvel, not for Star Wars. I mostly did it because I wanted to see that Beatles show. And boy, it's a lot of stuff. I didn't realize the episodes were that long, so it's going to take a while, but it's fascinating and some really cool stuff. And, well, more on that later. Yeah, it'll need some videos all its own. But in the meantime, Boba Fett, the book of Boba Fett, debuted. And I was trying to catch up because I had been invited to talk about it on other stream, but I was having internet service problems and stuff, and just a general doldrums in my own health. So didn't get around to doing that, but finally was able to get in to D+, and so all right, let's see what this show has to offer. So basically, the short of it, it starts off, fairly strong. Fizzles sort of in the middle, gets pretty weak, and then sets it up for the rest of the series at the end. So here come the spoilers. The strong parts is that it gives you, if the main explanation is, hey, how did he survive the Sarlacc pit? Well, they show you. And he was the one guy that fell into that thing that I always thought could survive it. I don't know how the expanded universe version of it was, but, he still had all his equipment with him and stuff. Although, it's a little odd. I don't know. There's a stormtrooper corpse, I guess, in the guts of the Sarlacc, and he makes use of the breathing apparatus within the stormtrooper's suit, or what have you, and he's able to burn his way through and dig his way out, and that's what he does. And you see the wreckage of Jabba's platform and all that stuff. And but it's it's necessary to explain how he got there. How did he get out? Well, it's figured he was dead. But I think it's credible that he could have survived that. I would have thought that he could have figured out how to fix his jetpack and just blast his way out. But anyway, so he does that. But I guess the digestive juices and acids or whatever did a number on him, because he's in bad shape once he gets out. He only crawls a few steps away and then he passes out. And then the Jawas show up. They just strip everything away. So that explains how did his helmet and equipment end up where they did in Mandalorian, And so that's all well and good. And then eventually the Tusken Raiders show up, the Sand People, and he's captured. So, and that's going to become important. I think they're going to deal with that probably throughout the series. But after that, you realize it's a flashback, but it's him remembering things as he's sitting in a Bacta tank. Because he's still not very healthy. He's in bad shape. And he needs the Bacta tank to recover in. So he's constantly having to go back to it. And so that's actually pretty good because it's explaining certain things about him. He's not as capable as he once was. And that's why he needs, what's her name? Is it Fenric or Fennec? I can't even remember. His muscle woman, his gal pal. And, they're not romantic, but, there's a partnership there. So, she's there, and I understand it to a point, and some of her ideas are probably better, but now he's good guy Boba Fett. And what the hell? Why is he like that? Well, they don't really offer it completely in this episode, but by the end of the episode, I think it's pretty obvious what's going to happen with his time with the Tusken Raider tribe is it's going to change him, and I think he's starting to develop this relationship with a young Tusken Raider child, and I think something terrible is going to have that child. He's going to get revenge and probably slaughter whoever hurt that child, but it's going to set him more on a path of something more noble than what he had before. That's my guess, but that's the situation that seems to be unfolding. So that'll be their at least the effort to explain his motivation. Some of the problem with that is that it's very similar to The Mandalorian, but they're both very similar characters. Both were orphaned, because of the Clone Wars and whatnot, and so he's going to see himself in this child very much the way The Mandalorian, saw himself in Baby Yoda and that sort of thing. So it's basically rinse, lather, repeat on that. They can't seem to come up with another motivation for this guy to change his ways, But the weak parts is sometimes the scenes are really fantastic, looks really good. They've got a lot of, it's scenes you've seen many times before by now of Tatooine, but nevertheless, it looks cool. And there's Fett gets a lot of good. She gets the best of the action scenes, really. As she's dealing with assassins who want to take Boba Fett down. They treat that very silly. He's already established himself as the new crime boss, and then despite his weakness, he decides to stroll through town, and he's got like 2 bodyguards. It's really bad. I mean, you think you would have thought that through, Almost gets killed. He fights his own way, but he's not healthy. He's not doing very well, and she has to step up to it, and the bodyguards do too as well. But so they have some cool scenes of, her stunt double anyway, leaping across the rooftops and stuff, and it's but the initial fight scene just looked, I don't know, it seemed kind of cheap, just in the middle of the street for a while there. But the other thing about it is it's relying on a lot of silliness. In some aspects, it's fine, but then it grows on a little too much. And some of it is setting up some of the problems he's going to have dealing with the corruption and whatnot of the criminal underworld of Star Wars. And a lot of times I think, if only they could have gone through with the Underworld series, it might have been far more fascinating. Boba Fett could have been a part of that, of course, but... Anywho, but there's too much silliness it kind of jars you out of the seriousness of some of the aspects of the story. And then he has to go back to the Bacta tank. So then he's back to dreaming about the past and where he was stuck with the Tusken Raiders. He escapes. He gets recaptured. A female Tusken Raider beats the crap out of him. But again, he's not at his best. So, of course, she beats the crap out of him. But eventually he's winning the respect and interest of this young Tusken Raider boy, or maybe it's a girl, I don't know. And he saves this child from a monster that they have an attack with, which looks like something out of John Carter. But George Lucas did take a lot from John Carter of Mars, But anyway, he defeats this creature, strangles it to death with his own chain and whatnot. There's also some scenes of some other gang that might be a problem. They're scavengers and whatnot, and I think that's probably going to lead to some sad end of this kid, and all of that sort of stuff. So that's all well and good. He wins the respect of the tribe, and they're starting to treat him a little better, letting him have water and stuff like that. So that story is going to be told, and I'm thinking that will be the explanation for his new attitude on life, and that he's not so quick to go into the usual brutal means of how like Jabba the Hutt had maintained order in his personal empire there on Tatooine. So there's that. But it's repetitive stuff. Like I said, it gets rather weak in the middle. The silliness is almost to the point of pushing you out. Some things look glorious. Other things look kind of cheap and stale. I don't know. But all in all, it's not horrible. But is that reason enough for people to get on back on D+? No, it's not. The Beatles Show, well, yeah, that's pretty good. And I started to binge the Hawkeye series. I haven't finished it yet, but everything you heard about it is true. It's not that great. So it's one episode in on Boba Fett. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe there'll be some things I can't foresee, but I think that pretty much spells it out as to why he is. So, they're making the effort, at least, to give some explanation to his motivation. It's just very similar to Din Djarin, the Mandalorian motivation with Baby Yoda and all that. So, but anyway, thanks to this episode, we now know how he got out of that nasty pit. Which was, could have figured it out yourself, but nevertheless, there it is. Oh, well. So there you are. Book of Boba Fett. Episode 1. Yeah. Was there a title? I think there was. I don't remember. Anyway, there you go. Boba Fett. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness. So many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.